My boy Raymond Vergara got some of the airiest clips, and I put together this compilation. Hope you enjoy it. Let's react to these things together.
Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall came out in 1979, and they were telling us since then that they were eating kids. And honestly, how far back does this really go? And right here, this guy is telling them to eat your meat. Because if you haven't realized, this goes way beyond the Epstein files. Because if you really go and investigate history and go down that rabbit hole, this has been going on for centuries. And I know this is a very taboo subject on social media, but if you really dig and look in music and books, you will find bits and pieces of the truth. Now, Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall came out and what happened to the giant of Kandahar? It's been years.
We all know better than to be eating these hamburgers and all that, right? We ain't still McDonald's and all that, right? We better than that by now, right?
And no new information has surfaced. If for some reason you do not know the story of the giant of Kandahar, it was an enormous humanoid creature allegedly encountered and taken out by a group of army soldiers on a mountainside in Afghanistan. Now, the last interesting piece of information I have is the interview with a pilot. Now, if you haven't heard this story before, this will probably leave you in amazement.
It was a completely normal mission for us. We were not alerted for anything abnormal. It was in the middle of the day. I remember coming into a base in Afghanistan called Bagram. Back in those days, it was pretty austere. It was an old Russian air base that we were using. It's basically built in a bowl in the mountains where you have to stay high right up in the last minute, and then you basically come screaming back down to land. And then we were met at the aircraft by what we later on called the babysitters, but they kind of introduced themselves and said, hey, no cameras, nobody's taking pictures here, we're moving some high-value stuff. When the load got there, we're very, of course, curious to see what it was, because that's just the way you are when you're told that you're not allowed to have a camera. They say this thing had been dead for maybe a day or two, but it stunk. And when I say stunk, I've smelled dead things before, but this had a more of a, I want to say a musky stink, kind of a, not really a decay, but more of a, if somebody hadn't taken a shower in like 10 years type of a musky stink is all I can tell you. And it was basically a dead guy, and this guy was extremely large. And when I say large, our pallets are basically, if I remember correctly, about 9 by 12 feet or so. This guy was laying in a fetal position on the pallet, so he filled the pallet. We estimated his size at approximately 12 to 10 feet tall. I did see his skin color. I was expecting somebody of more Arabic descent, being in Afghanistan and all. I know he was dead, but he was very pale, very white. Another thing that us and the rest of the crew did was we took our feet. He was in a fetal position, so you could take your feet and put it kind of, you could see where his feet were there, and they were wrapped up. He did not have shoes on, but he had like looked like he was wrapping them in some kind of a canvas type stuff. But we were sticking our feet up next to his feet, and his feet were extremely big. We know that the standard weight on one of those pallets is about 1,500 pounds, and I do remember that the Loadmaster did the weights, and it was around 1,100-pound guy.
Wow. They built that.
Can you imagine driving down the road and you see a dinosaur like that? Because that's what a saltwater crocodile is, a living dinosaur. And these saltwater crocodiles reach lengths up to 20 feet. And check that out, he wants to eat you through the glass. Now, can you imagine driving down the road? So I found another video on this strange cloud city. What are they? Are they somebody's recorded dreams? Because this one as well has a lot of strange comments. People saying it looks like they've been there in their dreams. Now, could this be some kind of dream state taking people to parallel universes? And there's even people saying just by looking at these videos, they had the same dream. Now, I myself haven't had this happen to me yet, but what do you think of these videos? So could these be real recordings of someone's dreams? And if they are, how is it possible that they recorded them? The drug officially declared an emergency.
I did want to say something about that, because I don't think that there's cities in the sky. I think that those are actual ships, actual cloaked ships, just in their cloaked cloud. And that's probably at the top of the ship, you know what I mean, that you can't see anyway, because the whole bottom is a cloud. Like, that's what I think that is. I don't think that's a city at all. I think that's them ships up there. That's what it looked like to me. That's what it's giving to me.
Threat because of the devastation it causes, and it's only getting worse. And it's the first time the U.S. government considered a drug such a significant menace. This drug is called xylazine, and get this, it's an anesthetic for horses. And the problem is that this anesthetic is not recommended for human use at all, especially in such large quantities. Injecting this anesthetic causes skin lesions and rotting of the skin. And hopefully this is a problem that one day will be overcome.
Oh, it's smoking them.
Now, are there giants, small pockets of them, still living in the middle of nowhere? Because there's lots of people that have gone bushwhacking and maybe areas they shouldn't have traveled, and do say that they have encountered giants and were lucky enough to make it out by the skin of their teeth. And by no means are some of these stories old stories. Some of them are pretty recent. So are people so caught up in their day-to-day life and modern society that we overlook the fact that giants still...
Now, them two motherfuckers might be real. Unless that's some little ass trees, but even still, look at the... Nah, that's some big motherfuckers right there.
Might be out there. Now, this right here is the Connemara giant in Ireland. Now, you can tell by the poor look on this guy's face that he got melted and instantaneously petrified. Now, if that's not enough proof to you that at one time giants did exist, and why was the reason that this happened to them? Were they disputing amongst each other? And were they the only cause of their own destruction? Questions that we might not never know. You know, I've done paranormal investigation.
Honestly, though, question, do you guys believe in giants? Do y'all think that they existed? Do y'all think that these hills are petrified giants and things of that nature? Do you think we living on... Because that's why I'm reacting to these videos anyway, because this is interesting right here. But let me know down in the chat, because this ain't only me, this is us, so let's do it.
Monster investigations, but I gotta tell you, the ocean's always been one place that freaks me out. Now, what the heck are these things? Now, I did slow down this video a bit. What is that? Some type of person trying to materialize, or is that...
Nah, boy, I'm running in there. Oh, I'm running in there, Captain Hook. For real. I'm running in there, Captain Hook, and I'm running back out. I'm jumping in the shower immediately.
Some kind of a spirit? Or could this even be some kind of a shadow person? Now, could this be some kind of strange weather anomaly? Or could it be some cloaked UFO?
I'm not gonna lie. I had to do this. I seen this. I actually recorded the same type of anomaly. You could go check out my TikTok, Heightened Senses. If you ain't on it, go subscribe to Heightened Senses. Also subscribe to here, but I do have the same thing recorded on my TikTok. I recorded, there was two of them. One came through and it almost looked like faces, honestly. They almost looked like faces from what I have. Almost looked like faces, but go check out my TikTok and we're going to keep these things building because it's real interesting, but I recorded this in real life.
Because there are quite a bit of them. I think I counted close to 11. You know, I've done paranormal. Now, there's no way you're going to tell me we built this magnificent cathedral only with hammer and chisel and there was no technology involved. That is definitely a misconception and a very big lie. And you tell me if we built this, why do the buildings around it look like they were built from a totally different culture and does not match the architecture of the cathedral whatsoever? Because all I smell is Great Reset, whether you choose to believe it or not. Some elite entities that are really eating mermaids. Because there's one gentleman that says that he's been to these parties, paid $50,000 for a ticket, and knows what mermaid meat tastes like. Now, as he explains the sweet, exquisite flavor like nothing on earth he's ever tasted before. And he says the only way he can describe it, that it's sweet like scallops and rich like ragu beef. And as he says, it seemed to awaken something deep in his senses, like if he was tasting the ocean itself. Now, he also came to say that the meat was served with herbs he could not recognize. Now, he says once consumed, he felt felt a resonant hum and a vibration in his bones and his blood, something he's never felt before. Now, to me, this is an abomination to do.
I believe it. I ain't even gonna lie. I believe it because it's too detailed. Like even if you capping, even if you're just making it up, where you gonna come up with them type of details? Like talking about it, your whole situation hung. Come on, where you coming up with that? What is L? I believe it though. 54 ticket. I believe that 100%.
This to these beings, because really, what kind of a higher plane do they really have? And you're just condemning yourself to darkness. So in your opinion, do you think there's really some elite groups that are eating mermaids? Because this story and the level of detail in it, and even some parts I cannot explain on here, seem pretty realistic to me. Just something, I know a lot of people believe that the Devil's Tower is just something volcanic, but it just resembles a tree stump way too much just to ignore it. And can you imagine just the way it stands now? It's 867 feet tall. Now just imagine the massive size of this tree when it was once standing tall. It would have been some breathtaking sight just to view it. And if this is just something volcanic and not a massive tree stump, why, looking at it closely, these resemble massive tree rings magnified 1,000 times. Now we can debate this.
Now, I wanted to pause it here because there's also a theory that as a giant's was left over from a giant's foot that got severed, like right there at the hill. And what you're looking at is what you're looking at right there is a part of the ankle of the giant, petrified ankle bone with some of the ligaments. He's saying that's ligaments. He started comparing it to ligaments and all that, and it looked at. You never know what's going on out here, man.
All day long, but at one time, there were giant trees all around the world. And why their history has been hidden from us for reasons unknown, their remnants still exist, even up today. Now, this is part 2 of the Giant of Kandahar, and the big question, where was it taken? Now, the pilot did say that it might have been taken to Wright-Patterson, and in my opinion, probably shipped off somewhere to a laboratory somewhere. And did they go back and find more of these red-headed giants?
The pallet sits on dunnage. You know what dunnage is? It's basically like railroad ties so that you can get a forklift underneath it and pick it up. So it was on dunnage, and basic dunnage is like maybe a 4x4. And then the pallet is, say, yay thick. It's actually aluminum and balsa wood. And this guy, I mean, laying down was very, very wide. I mean, and he was, like I said, he's in a fetal position. And you go up and just, you hit it. And of course he's under a tarp and all that, I understand that. But he was a dense guy. We questioned the babysitters and, hey, where'd you get this guy? And some of the Army guys that were with him relayed to us that this guy had, I guess, been living up in the mountains next to a village where the villagers basically treated him like a god. I did infer that they were making sacrifices to this guy because they said they found bones of people. The giant supposedly, like I said, I was not there, supposedly killed the first team that they came across. He was extremely big and fast and agile for a guy that size. They sent up another team, and when the second team went in there to get him, supposedly he had already started to basically eat on the team that had been killed the first time. They then grabbed...
Hold on. I don't even care. Because ain't no nigga just gonna get up here and start lying so detailed for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, the experience is in the detail. The detail is in the experience. When you hear it and you hear how somebody tell a story, you can tell. Nah, he ain't capping. Giant started running, going feet 5-4 on all these military dudes went back. He already tossing the bones out. That's some real fairy tale shit.
the helicopter, and the helicopter brought him down where we picked him up. After we loaded the giant, it was just a standard mission back. We took him all the way back to El Udeid in Qatar, where he was transloaded onto another airplane. I believe it was a C-17. I was done with my mission then. I got away from it. I was done. I did ask some questions later of, where it might have gone, and as the grapevine goes, it was probably taken back to the United States, and the words I heard were right, Pat. But again, I don't know.
No, you're not going to tell me this is a regular rock formation, because that looks like a freaking toe of a giant. There's no way Mother Nature made it look so perfectly. Now, this next video, what is that? Is that a statue? If it is a statue, why would anybody just put it in the middle of nowhere? Or is it a movie prop? Could it have been a real giant at one time and it just turned to stone? Now, this video is kind of creepy. In that cave, there's a giant face staring back at that person taking a video. Now, could that just be some kind of crazy anomaly, or is that a real giant staring at that person? Now, you're not going to... Now, I myself am a firm believer that there is more land beyond the ice wall, and there are people that believe this too. Now, can you imagine this man went out there and was live streaming with this Starlink? Since Starlink does work with satellites, he was able to get a very...
That shit look like a fortress, though. You see how it's jutting out? Like, it looked like the Superman fortress. These found Superman fortress. Let me find out that
amazing live stream. And he was able to record a recent opening in the ice wall. Now, if you read anything about the ice wall, some of these openings do start opening certain times of the year. Now, if there is more land beyond the ice wall, are we going to start seeing more live streams of people actually crossing this ice barrier? Now, has anyone ever heard of Phil Flaw Island before? Now, look at this island carefully and tell me this island does not look like a tree stump. And not just anyone can get on this island. You actually have to get special permission to get on the island. Now, I know a lot of...
Look, it even still got the beautiful rays that's supposed to be hitting the tree that was there. That's supposed to be feeding the tree. It still gets its rays. That's crazy. That's ill right there.
You out there will agree with me that there's a lot of these giant tree stumps all over the world. And whether people choose to believe it or not, these trees were cut down by the angels to destroy the Nephilim giants and the people who worship these giants. And maybe somewhere beyond the ice wall, some of these giant trees still might exist. Now, what I find strange about the Milan Cathedral in Italy, just look at the buildings around it and see the difference between the architecture, like it wasn't even built by humans of today. Now, this cathedral was built in the 1300s, and can you imagine this? It took 600 years to complete. But in my opinion, there had to have been a great reset, and these monolithic buildings had to have been built by someone else. Because this magnificent masterpiece is made out of marble. Because you tell me, without technology, how did they even get that marble all the way up there? With some of these pieces weighing over a few thousand pounds. And if humans did build it, why don't we build things like this anymore? Now, what I find strange... So how many of you believe in mythology?
Listen, we built it. Humans built that. Don't get that right. I think 100% we built it. Now, how we built it, that's what they hiding. Possibly. Technology. You know how it was built, who built it, what humans built it specifically. And you don't want to really throw all that to extraterrestrial aliens and all that. It's here. It's clearly, it functions as if a human was functioning. Some of it's just taller, some of it's bigger. But yeah, we definitely built that. If you don't know about the Tartaria situation, Google Tartaria. Get in, go look down the rabbit hole of Tartaria. See what you look up. You might like what you see.
Logical creatures, and at one time they did exist. And could there even be a possibility that some of them could be out there even to this day? Because if these creatures were just mythological, why is it that so many cultures talk about them and even identically describe a lot of these mythological creatures? Because a lot of these cultures didn't even cross paths with each other. So how did they know what these creatures look like if they weren't real and they were only myths and legends? So how many...
I'm not.
Now,
jacking
whether
it.
you believe it or not, the proof is out there all around the world of petrified giants. Now, I do think this did happen to them before the Great Flood. Now, is there a possibility that they did this to each other? Because I have read a lot of stories on disputing giants and their colossal battles. Could this have been the result? And if it was, what were they disputing about? Could man have been one of the reasons? Because in my opinion, I don't think all giants were evil. Now, whether you believe it or now, in my opinion, there definitely has to be something going on. Because why all these videos on centaurs? Because this is not the only video that I've came across of centaur-like beings, and the top one is an old one. And a lot of these sightings have taken place in the Appalachian Mountains. And we all know the history of all the weird occurrences that happen up in that area. And I know there's a lot of good AI going around now, but was AI put in place just to hide the real things from the public? Because then that makes everyone think that all of this 100% is probably fake anyways. And with smartphones having better camera systems now, it's easier to capture something maybe you should.
I'm gonna say it's AI because I can see a faint glow, like a faint dark glow around, like outline in the under of his arm, especially when he went into the shadow. But I couldn't tell for a while. I seen this video before. I couldn't really tell, man, and I'm still a little on the fence, but from what I see, it's AI, but it's crazy because it looks better than movies, you know? And it's like people making these off their computer like that. If this is AI, people making these off their computer like that, right? And then you gonna see a movie like Godzilla versus King Kong, and it looks way more animated than this. And they spent millions on the graphics to generate it. So it's like, I don't know. I don't really know. Put down in the comments, what do you think this is? Do you think it's AI? Or do you think they put an overlay on it to make it look AI-ish a little bit? Who knows, man? I'm gonna call AI on this though. I'm sorry.
And back in the day, if you just saw something, you were just classified as a nut. So now they had to put AI in place to just assume that everyone's a hoaxer or just a liar. And with AI, would the majority of people be able to tell whether something is really real or fake? Because I myself do believe that a lot of these mythological creatures did exist at one time.
Yes.
Do we live in a literal graveyard of giants, and this is all that remains? Their so-called salted flesh, and even fragments of giant bones like this skull. And throughout the world, we see their fragments of their petrified remains. And did some of them escape this extermination? Because there are people that say they have seen them in certain regions. And are they
Hold on.
waiting for one day to reclaim this world? Do we live in a Now, there are some people that seem to say that reptilian races came from another planet. Now, I tend to disagree with that and think that some higher life reptile did evolve just like we did. Now, I also do think they've been here longer than we have. That's why they've been able to develop technology more advanced than us. Now, as far as them being our friends, I don't think that's the case. But I think there are some...
Just to put my input in on that, I think in a way that us as humans, the male, like the female and the male, I believe that we in a way are reptile more than mammal. Why? Because if you look at our skin, it resembles more of a snake skin up close. You know what I mean? On top of that, we have a reptile part of our brain. We don't have a mammal part of the brain. Not that I know of. Science ain't never teach us about no mammal part, but they did tell us we have a reptile part, and that reptile part controls what? Your senses, right? Flight or flight, fight or flight. So what does that tell you? Your senses is who you are. Your senses is what directs you and controls you in this jungle or this environment whatsoever. So you're basically what you are by your senses. Just like a lion is a lion because of its senses, how it acts. We have reptile senses. Just a quick...
human entities out there that are working with them, and by no means to better you and I, but to help them with their agenda, and also to gradually simulate them into our society. But this is something that's been going on for years, So I'm pretty sure they got a pretty good hold on whatever they're planning out, because I have heard from people that I know about crossbreeding reptilian and human DNA to make themselves look more human. And that's why sometimes you get slip-ups like these, because they haven't been able to 100% modify the reptilian and the human gene together. And there's even some cases that some people run into these reptilian hybrids, just like this celebrity.
And he looked like a lizard. It's like, holy shit, looks just like a lizard.
So the next time
Look,
you get
see?
that feeling,
And they thought she was playing. Now you look hindsight 2020. Now you see, oh, she was telling the truth. She was not playing. She was speaking real right in our face. That's crazy. But y'all ever ran into a reptilian? Drop a comment down low. Let me know.
that maybe that person next to you is not really human, just trust your instincts. Could these be ancient Tartarian power sources that helped build marbles like these? Or could they even have been used to make intricate details just like these? Because there's no way you're going to tell me with all these intricate carvings and all these intricate designs in these old buildings that there was no technology used. And whether we choose to believe or believe not in the Tartarian civilization, there's evidence of it everywhere. Could these... No, there's no way you're going to tell me that these precise details were carved by hand. They had to have been...
I'm not jacking him in chisel theory. Y'all jacking it. They're about to show this little electric thing, this little laser-like thing that's carving an image in stone. They had to be using something like what they're about to show. There's no way you got that off of him in chisel, boy.
Carved by some kind of advanced sonic tool or laser. And we're talking about really advanced tools that are compact enough that they could just take with them and do these carvings. And our civilization doesn't even have anything close to that. So what happened to these people or beings? And was their civilization reset? And if so, the real question is why? Now, if there were giant trees, there had to have been giant trees that had fruit. And here is the proof. Now, you tell me that the inside of that doesn't look like a giant plum of some kind with a seed. I mean, just look at the picture up top, and you tell me that that does not look similar. And here's another picture of some more giant fruit from a video that I posted a while back, just to show that the evidence is out there that giant trees did exist at one time, and science can shovel all the horse manure at once and say that this stuff is just something volcanic and giant trees never existed. But to the ones that have already opened their eyes to the truth, there's no denying that at one time there was a giant world, and they can hide the truth with their science and their textbooks, but seeing is believing. Now, if there were... Now, at one time, did these mythological creatures exist? Because there has to be a truth to all these stories, right? And if they are true, are some of these mythological creatures still living even up today? Because you cannot tell me that all these people that have had experiences are all lying. Now, at one time, are demons and aliens putting themselves out there in plain sight? With all this AI, they know that most people are not going to believe that they are real. And with everything demonic that's going on, you know they're the ones that are in control. Because most people are so busy with their lives and the problems that they have that they're failing to look at what's really going on. And all these so-called entities...
Now, do y'all seen these pictures, right? These little joints that was going on. Do y'all think that's AI? Do y'all think that was some real situation that was going on? I personally think that was real. I think that was some shapeshifter cathedral they was doing, shapeshifter contest, seeing who could do the best shape-shifting to the best and weirdest. I think that was 100% real, though, honestly.
That we're calling aliens, in my opinion, are really demons. And they've just been with us since the beginning of time without us even knowing, with their shape-shifting abilities. And now it's just making it easier for them to show who they really are. In my opinion, AI is a technology magic spell just to make us look the other way and not believe. So why so much AI now? What are they really trying to hide? And could this really go to show that we do live in a simulation, and maybe the simulation has got out of control? Because, I mean, just think about it. If these creatures that you're seeing right now are really not creatures, what makes you think that everything around you is not just an AI generated image just in a higher form. And what really draws the line in non-reality and reality itself. Now, I'll tell you, there's a lot of strange things in the Appalachians. This worm was found in an abandoned cabin, chewing through the wood, if you can believe that. Now, my question is, if this video is real, there's got to be more of these creatures, right? Now, this photo was also taken on the Appalachians on a cliff of a supposed winged creature. Now, the photograph is a little bit blurry, but you can see that whatever this creature is, it does have wings. Now, the hiker that did take this photograph did not want to disclose which cliff he took this photograph on. Now, we all know the weird stories that come out of the Appalachians, so could this be a real winged creature? Now, here's another strange creature video from the Appalachians. What is that? Is that some kind of a mini horse? Now, all I gotta say is there's a lot of strange creature reports.
What in the Shrek Donkey 2? The hell is that? That's a mini horse. Look like Boots' horse done got loose.
The Appalachians, and there's a lot of people out there that'll tell you the same thing. As you start going down the...
What about that worm in the beginning? What y'all thought? Y'all thought that was AI? I see some shit like that. Give me the sledgehammer, flamethrower, grenade launcher, straight to the fence. We taking the whole fence out. No cap.
Alien rabbit hole. You start realizing that aliens are nothing more than demons. And there's a lot of credible people out there that do say that aliens are nothing more than demons.
No, I don't believe in alien life. I believe that they're demonic, and that they're demonic beings that make an appearance and appear to be real, and they are real. The Bible says Satan can appear as an angel of light. So they can appear, and so nothing human can make a 90-degree turn at 3,000 miles an hour.
And not only a NASA astronaut is saying that, our own vice president even knows something about aliens being demonic, but is not talking about it at this time.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway, but that's a long discussion.
And there's even ufologists in the UFO community that are high ups that do know something about aliens not being aliens and them just being demons.
Of what is going on. So the evidence is spiritual, and then when we get to the level of abductions, deceptive messages are being given to people that they're halted in the name of Jesus. That is incredibly powerful. And again, when I'm saying that we've now got hundreds of testimonies, and I can't mention names, but I know people in the higher levels of UFO investigations that actually readily acknowledge this, but because of their positions, they can't actually come forward and candidly reveal this. So
now, can you imagine they're not revealing the true nature of aliens just being demons? Now, if you want to learn more, just go research it for yourself, and I guarantee you, this is a scary rabbit hole. Now, did you see that? The way you can see through solid objects with this device that was supposedly found. Now, here's some still pictures of it like that. You can take a better look at it. It does seem to have some type of glass on it, but really, what is it? Could it be some kind of lost alien tech, or even maybe Tartarian? Now, I don't know if you guys remember this old video that I posted a while back of this guy that had some glass in Russia that could actually see UFOs that were hidden. Could this be the same kind of technology, but instead of seeing
that, if that's true, that got to be like some type of crystal technology. It looked like a crystal mixed with a seashell. That got to be some type of crystal technology that's bending light, if it is real. That's bending the light when you look through it, so you can see through the other side.
In different spectrums, you can actually see through solid objects. Now, I know most of you are going to ask, well, where was this device found? And that information is unknown. Now, could this be some real tech? Anything is possible. Just a few days ago, I did make a video on night vision contact lenses. And honestly, what would you do if you found something like this? So do you believe in portals and the possibility of traveling to other worlds and even other dimensions? And could stars be more than just stars and be those possible gateways for traveling to other solar systems, other planets, and even other dimensions? Because in this close-up of this star, you can see the total raw power. And
what do y'all think stars is? I personally think stars are, I think everybody has their own star. I think a star is what you came through. I think the star is the portal that you came through when you were born into this realm. That's what I believe a star is anyway. I think that, yeah, everybody, when you look up, everybody has a star. Everybody's connected to a star. That's what I'm thinking.
Honestly, do we really know the true raw power of what a star really is? And basically, a portal's just like an elevator taking you from one place to another. And how many people have actually created working portals successfully? Because I've even found detailed schematics online on how to build a portal, showing the best metals you can use for this process, magnets, and even audio harmonics. So do you believe? Now, I was on Google Earth, and there's no way that you're going to tell me that by Antarctica is not some kind of a serpent or a dragon. You can even tell that it has nostrils. And if you even look carefully, you can even see eye sockets. Now, just hear me out. Could Antarctica be some kind of cooling technology to keep this Leviathan frozen? Because, I mean, think about it. Why would 58 nations agree to this treaty and leave Antarctica the way it is when we can't get along for nothing with anything else? There has to be some united reason for everyone to agree and say it's just beneficial for the whole world. Now, in my opinion, I think there's something definitely there. And
if you look at it, you can see the dragon, you can see the wing. It's like, if it is some type of sub-zero technology on it, they put it right on the wing, and it froze the wing, and it just probably, what's the word I'm looking for? Suppressed, not suppressed, but you know the word I'm looking for. When they hit you with a lot of drugs, they hit you with a lot of medications, sedated, has it in the form of sedasis, because what happens with reptiles when they're cold, they sleep, right? They sleep when they're cold. So if you look, it looks like a dragon, man. And for every country on the planet to come and say we can't mess with right here, there's something to that. There's definitely something to that.
even land beyond the ice wall, I believe that's a possibility too. Now, I was on... Okay, so is this just a dog, or could it be a skinwalker? Because, I mean, really, why would it be out there by itself on that trail? Unless someone left it there. Now, could this be a witch, a lechuza? Because supposedly the people that caught it said it was flying around their houses at night. So what do you think? Could this be real? Now, this next video was taken by a couple on their security camera, and they do live in the Appalachians. So what is it? A skinwalker, some kind of unknown cryptid, or maybe even some person in a costume? Now, there are a lot of stories of feral people living in the Appalachians. Could this be one of them? Oh, could this be real footage of an ancient civilization in Antarctica? And if it is, could that be the real reason why you're not allowed in certain areas? Could this be real footage of an ancient civilization in Antarctica? And if it is, could that be the real reason why you're not allowed in certain areas?
100%. What y'all think? I think this is real. I think this is some serious footage. We going back to camp.
What the?
Oh.
What the? So
That's going.
guys, but I hope their boat can go a little bit faster. Now, I'm hoping this thing is just AI because it does look smart, and that puts us as a human race in a lot of trouble. Now, I'm curious about this thing. What is it? Is it some type of a squid, or is it a mermaid?
Whatever it is, it's chilling. That's for
How
sure.
about you guys? Now, you might think the story of Freddy Krueger was just made up by some writer in some studio, but he was a real person born in 1838, and his name was Frederick Krueger. And all those stories that you heard from him, they weren't made up by some writer. They're actual case files. And more than 75 children became his victims in 1851. And it's crazy to think that something that you might think is just made up fiction might have really happened.
Did y'all know that? Did y'all know Freddy Krueger was a real dude? That's his gravestone right there. This is no cat. That's it. Frederick Krueger, 1838 to 1910. That would have made him what? 1838 to 1910. 70 or something when he passed, I'm thinking. Give or take. Couple pieces. That's real. Because ain't no Freddy Krueger was real, right? All this going on, all this real stuff they putting in movies that people don't know, that's coming out now.
Now, you might think the story of Freddy Krueger was just made up by some writer in some studio, but he was a real person born in 1838, and his name was Frederick Krueger. And all those stories that you heard from him, they weren't made up by some writer, they're actual case files. And more than 75 children became his victims in 1851. And it's crazy that, can you imagine it's warming up in Antarctica? This lady is talking about this is the second day that she only has to wear a turtleneck and not having to worry about putting on your parka jacket and not freezing. Now, sometimes I really wonder all this talk about global warming. What if we're just coming out of an ice age? And that's why things all of a sudden now are warming up. Now, tell me your thoughts on that. And this is what she had to say.
The food is telling us how good of weather we have. This is the second day in a row that I've had to take off my parka out of the air, and I'm just in my turtleneck, and it feels pretty amazing.
No coffee for this coffee in the north. Uh-oh.
Good? It's warm, ain't it? Never thought we'd be saying it's warm in Antarctica.
Can you imagine? No Parker for Miss Parker in Antarctica? Listen, man, if y'all enjoyed these videos, this was a compilation by your boy Raymond Vergara. Go show him some love. But like, share, and subscribe to the team. Like, share, and subscribe to the family. I'm going to keep dropping these videos forever regardless. We